haven't spoke with either Ms. Field or Mr. Baker on this, but they both signed in in the last 10 months. I'm going to ask for Dr. Baker and Carlee Field, Ms. Field, if you guys could unmute yourself and just check in and make sure that everything works. And if possible, video would be great too.
No.
I'm trying to figure out, this is Carlee Field, how to turn my camera on. Sorry.
Dr. Baker, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And Ms. Field, you can still hear us?
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know if, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Your video image is up now.
There we go. Everybody's up. All right, well, if everybody's good, we'll just get started.
Okay.
Mr. Bragg, if it's okay, I'll just read some of the facts of the police report and what got us to this point.
Okay, please.
That work for you? Okay.
Yes.
On May 25th of 2020, our officers were dispatched around 9:30 in the evening to the area of Center Street north of 12 Mile. The actual dispatch was 1835 North Center, and the call was on dogs actively fighting. When they got there, there was an injured dog that was taken to the emergency vet, and then they spoke with the owner of that dog as well as Miss Field. And the owner of that dog is one of Miss Field's neighbors who stated she was walking her dog down the street when Miss Field's dog got loose from the house, came out and attacked her dog. And after some time, they were able to pull the dogs apart. And Miss Thomas' dog sustained decent injuries, went to the vet, went into surgery, and succumbed to its injuries within a day or two after that. Miss Field went to the veterinary clinic where Miss Thomas' dog was being treated. She stated that the dog was off the leash, got out of the house. She's not sure how he got out. Once the two were separated, they went to the animal veterinary clinic. Sorry. Our animal control officer followed up, spoke with both, issued Miss Fields a ticket for a dog bite, and then recommended that Miss Fields' dog Bruno be classified as a dangerous dog per our city ordinance, Article 4, Section 195-23 and 24. Miss Field has since appealed that to our board. That's where we're at. Just one more thing. The classification of dangerous dog for the ordinance is a dog that bites or attacks a person while being used by a law enforcement official for legitimate law enforcement purpose. A dog that bites or attacks a person is committed. I'm sorry. These are things that do not apply. Sorry. One second. I pulled up the wrong section. A dangerous dog is a dog that bites or attacks a person, or any dog that bites or attacks a dog or other domestic animal and causes serious injury to the other dog or domestic animal, or the other dog or domestic animal is either on the property or under the control of an owner. And in this case, the dog wasn't in control of its owner. And I talked to Ms. Thomas, and she said she was actually walking up to her house when this happened. So it both fit near the property. She's either on or near the property. And she had control of her dog. Attacked. I think we lost Miss Field.
That's what I was wondering too.
Hold on, she's back. She's in the waiting.
Okay.
It's too bad that we can't have these meetings one-on-one, but
Yeah.
under the circumstances,
Pretty soon, hopefully.
yeah, I sure hope so. It's been hard on everybody.
Yeah.
Miss Field, there you go. Judith.
Okay.
We lost you there.
Am I good now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
At what part did you cut out?
Right when you guys told me to unmute myself, my phone decided it had to update for Zoom. So
Okay.
just how my
Um,
day is going.
Really quickly, for the other members, I just went over the facts of the report, which stated that on the 25th, your neighbor, Ms. Thomas, was walking her dog near your house, near her house and your house. You guys are neighbors. And your dog got out of the house. You're not sure of how it got out of the house, but it attacked Ms. Thomas's dog, causing substantial injuries that Ms. Thomas' dog was eventually succumbed to and passed. And then I went over the ordinance of what a dangerous dog is, which is any dog that bites or attacks a person, or any dog that bites or attacks a dog or other domestic animal and causes serious injury to that other dog or domestic animal, while the other dog or domestic animal is on the property under control of its owner. Based on the ordinance and the facts in the report, the animal control officer recommended that your dog be declared a dangerous dog. Do you have any questions or comments about that?
So Miss Thomas and I had become friends the 21st. She was leaving my backyard and wasn't on a walk. I honestly don't know what to say because I feel horrible what happened to her dog. But at the same time, my dog was bitten first and was not the aggressor. He's not, he's the most gentle animal I've ever met in my entire life. And unfortunately, it sounds bad, but it was like the bigger dog won the fight. And I went to the vet with her. I paid $1,856. They said the vet said the dog would be fine and would be coming home the next day. And then I get a call saying he needed $7,000 in surgery for a hole in its trachea. And I told her I didn't have that kind of money. I had 4 methods of payment that I had to pay just because I felt bad. So I don't know how to defend my dog and myself and my family, but I don't know if everyone received the pictures of my dog. He's been around children. He's been around bunny rabbits. He's been around cats. I lived at Lexington Village where there was dogs everywhere that I could let him off a leash and they would play. I used to take him to Belle Isle, the dog beach. He's never done anything. Like, she was leaving my backyard and I shut my gate at that time. The fencing is all old, and the next day I went out and had somebody replace my whole gate on my fence so it wouldn't happen again. I made several, things, did several things in my house to make sure he couldn't, I have a baby gate, like blocking the front door. So if, someone were to come to my door and I opened it, he couldn't run out because he did at the apartment. He'd get off his leash, and now I've got the harness and all that. But it was like he would go for a jog and then just come right home. Like, hey, I just want to go for a run. But I do understand how serious it was. But I just feel like at the same time, if he wanted to kill that dog right away, it wouldn't have went on for as long as it did. And there were just so many factors. You know, her kicking him repeatedly, throwing glass bottles at him, that wasn't gonna help anything. So I honestly, he's the best dog I've ever had. I fought for him at the apartment that I lived at because I go through like it's called training, treatment, and innovations, and he's basically like my emotional support dog. He knows when I'm upset. He cuddles with me. My daughter, who's 15, has type 1 diabetes. We're starting to try to learn like from him. We didn't even know he was capable, but he'll go wake her up at 3 o'clock in the morning because her sugar's low and whines and nudges at her. We've had him since he was 6 weeks old. And he's never done anything like this. And other than that, I really don't I don't know what to say. I've never had to deal with this. I used to have an aggressive dog I had for 12 years, and I would have to lock him up every time somebody came over. My dog Bruno, he literally has happy tail syndrome, where I had to bandage his tail from him wagging his tail so much that it bled. Like, he's the happiest dog and friendliest dog.
Ms. Field, I understand this is a difficult time for you. So, you know, if you need to take a second, you can. There is a witness statement on the report from a Mr. Smith, Brian Wesley Smith, or Wesley Brian Smith. Is that your neighbor, it looks like?
I don't know who that is.
He stated he came over and helped pull the dogs apart.
Was that at 1829?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know his name. There was an incident on the 21st that their dogs were out, and I don't know. So what was that statement about?
He just said that he saw your dog, had the smaller dog in his mouth, shaking it. He jumped in, tried to help. When they were finally pulled apart, he tried to hold your dog until the police arrived.
Right. He was the one that because he helped me get my generator that I had to go rent out of my van today. And he was the one that originally told me that she was kicking Bruno repeatedly over and over and over, throwing glass bottles at him. And it didn't help that my 7-pound female dog was barking and antagonizing the whole situation the whole time. He came out and I mean, it was also traumatic and scary. I don't even know how long it went on for, but I don't know.
The kicking by Miss Thomas and the glass bottle, and this was while Bruno had the dog in his mouth. The way the report reads is when Bruno grabbed a hold of her dog and started biting him, that's when she was kicking and trying to get apart.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is Bruno has he had a bunch of marks on his ankles and stuff like that. And she wasn't on a walk. Her dog wasn't on a leash. And my dog didn't just run up and bite the dog at its throat. That's not what happened at all.
It says it bit her on the stomach.
That what?
That it bit your dog bit her dog around the stomach. Is what my understanding is.
So I'm a little confused with this, I guess. So Bruno, how old is Bruno now?
He'll be 5 in December.
All right, you've had him since he was
6 weeks old.
6 weeks old. Okay, and he's had some vaccinations and stuff?
Yes, he's all up to date and registered everything.
Yeah, and he had that crazy happy tail stuff. We treated that before. That's sort of a
I never
weird thing.
heard of it.
Yeah, how old and how much does he weigh?
Around 65, 70 pounds.
Okay, and so the situation is that he was in his backyard and the neighbor was walking the dog?
No,
that right?
that neighbor came over because I told her, hey girl, come look at my backyard. I'm exhausted. I was like doing my work, laying sod, pavers, whatever. She said, go check your porch. So I go check my porch and I was like, okay. She left me wine and a bunch of goodies. And then she came over to look at what I've done with my backyard. And she left my backyard with her dog and her son. And I shut my gate.
Oh, so she had her dog with her?
Yes, in my backyard.
In your backyard, okay. And was Bruno out then?
Yes.
Okay.
And
then
I don't know if I can flip this because I'm sitting in my van, but the fencing that's here right now, or that was there, is very old. So at the bottom, like they could just push the thing right open. So I immediately, the next day, got the fence fixed because it's not the first time that he got out. He's gotten out probably 5 times since February. And, goes and sees the dog at the corner, right at the corner of 12 Mile and Center Street. They have a Doberman who would go over there, sniff, bark, run around, and like come home. Even at the same thing, like I said, at the apartment. He just wants to go for a run, I guess.
So Bruno was in the backyard too, and this other dog was out front. Is that what happened?
No, her dog was in my backyard, and then she went to leave, and that's when my dogs came out of the fence.
Oh, they came through the fence or over the fence?
The bottom of the fence, is like pushed. It was like, it's not secure. It wasn't secure at the bottom.
Okay.
And then my female dog is she's a 7-pound Morkie.
Okay.
They're 6 months apart. She's very, like, even the next door neighbor, you can tell it's like she antagonizes. So I felt like she was like, just, I don't know. But she wasn't coming home from a walk. She was leaving my backyard after leaving wine and a bunch of goodies on my porch and a note.
Okay.
I even have my Facebook messages that say, go check your porch at 9:15 that night.
Okay. Now, but you walk Bruno on the leash? Bruno goes out and walks on the leash?
I did until this happened, because I just feel like every time if I take him outside, everybody's gonna judge me or whatever, even though my direct connecting neighbor in the duplex has a pit bull mix. And everybody on this block lets their dog just out in the open.
So they just let the dogs out to do their business, and that's it, right?
There's a German Shepherd across the street. There's the witness has a boxer and a something doodle. The corner house has a Doberman. The duplex right next to mine, like here, I don't know if you can see it. That's my neighbor's house.
Okay.
I think he wrote a letter, James, and then that's my house. Well, she's on the other side of James, and my dog will go up and bark at the dog next door. They even had a visiting dog, a Shih Tzu, male, unneutered. Now, if he wanted to get over there, he would have got over there. He wasn't trying to. He wasn't trying to hurt anybody.
Yeah, has Bruno been neutered?
No, but I'm gonna look into it. But I just wanted to find out what's gonna happen tonight before I spend more money that I don't have.
And so the other dog had a bunch of injuries, and Bruno grabbed him and shook him. Is that what happened?
Honestly, it all happened so fast, and screaming, yelling. That's when the neighbors came out. There was several of the neighbors.
Did he let go when they were yelling and screaming at him, or no?
He was being kicked. Eventually, we got him off of him, because if not, the police pulled up right after. They would have probably shot my dog if he didn't let go. And the other neighbor next to the next house down, he carried Bruno back because he only had his collar on with his tags or whatever. He didn't have his harness, and that I ended up finding in the middle of the street. So his collar got off. So this guy, a couple doors down, picked Bruno up, put him in my house for me. And then I rode with her to the vet in Madison Heights and sat there, paid all that money. And they said that the dog was fine and was just in shock and would be coming home the next day.
So you went to veterinary emergency service, right? VES?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, 11, almost 12 in John.
Yeah, across from McDonald's.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, has Bruno ever done this before?
Never.
Do you have kids?
I have a 3-year-old.
Wow.
And I have a 15-year-old.
Wow.
And that's the one that he's starting to learn when her sugar's low. He'll wake her up and nudge her and whine at her in the middle of the night when her sugar drops low.
When they have friends over, how's that go?
He wags his tail so hard. If anything, the only dangerous thing he does is his tail might hurt them a little bit because he wags it so hard. He has barely any hair on both sides of his tail.
Yeah.
And I finally healed it. When it was bad, it was bleeding. Every time he hit the wall, it bled everywhere when I was at the apartment. I don't have to lock him up. Nobody is, hey, can you put your dog up? Nothing. Nobody's scared of him at all. At all. And that's what I said. I can tell my friends, can you write me a character letter? And they'll write whatever, but I have 2 neighbors that I barely know. I moved in February 5th. They don't know me. They don't know who I am. I didn't make them do anything. You know what I mean? And the letters that they wrote made me cry because I didn't even know that they thought of my dog so highly. And they don't know me. We've talked a couple here and there, neighborly things, but they don't know me or, but they see, I've never even seen Bruno growl or show his teeth. His bark isn't even scary. He's like one of my kids. And I'm just...
You think that, has this made you worry about his behavior in the future?
No. Nope. I'm not concerned one bit. And if I do take him out, like they said, have him on a leash with a harness and a muzzle. I'm not worried about... I mean, did you get the pictures of him eating out of a bowl with a rabbit?
No, I haven't seen. I wasn't able to get the pictures. So
a rabbit, a cat. I mean, his best friend, or I don't know if it's his girlfriend or best friend, but she's 7 pounds.
how does he do at the veterinary office when under normal circumstances?
Perfectly fine. My old dog that I had, I would have to go in, get a muzzle, leave him in my car until he got out. This dog wants to lick everybody to death. He doesn't growl. He's the happiest dog. Like the other day, I was giving him a bath, and then he's just sitting in the bath, and then I was just like, oh, I'm hopping in the shower because we had no power last night. And he'll sit in the shower with me. He's the best dog ever. He doesn't chew. He's the best dog ever. If anything, it's like the little one is the one that causes all the problems around the house.
So you think the little one added to it, right?
For sure, because the dogs were both unneutered and she's a female. But she is spayed, but both the dogs weren't neutered.
Is there any other questions?
I'm sorry. And it had to come to this.
I know this is hard in Westfield. We're not here to judge you or your character. This mainly has to do with the city ordinance, the way it's written, whether your dog falls under the dangerous dog elements of the ordinance. So, I do want to say this has nothing to do with your neighbor. She has nothing to do with this or this decision. And she hasn't asked for any of this. This was a determination of the animal control officer as he read the ordinance, and that's kind of what we're convening to hear your appeal and see if
Sorry.
his determination is correct.
Oh, I think I got out.
You still there?
I think so. So, how did the dog end up passing? Like, I know he passed, but was it because I didn't give the 7,000 for the surgery?
I don't have all the logistics, and I certainly am not an attorney. It's my understanding that he made it through surgery but died of complications, I believe, the next day.
Yeah, I can address that a little bit. The options are, they said he had a tear in his windpipe or something like that. We worry a little bit about shock. They probably treated him for shock. They probably got some x-rays, so I don't know indeed whether there was internal damage or not. Sometimes if there's internal damage, just with like people that get in car accidents,
Right.
there can be a delayed problem. And when the weight discrepancy between your dog and this other dog, the bigger dogs have a tendency to grab them and bite them and then shake. And when they do that, it can cause problems inside. I think that should be able to get a report from BES about what their conclusions were.
Who is BS?
That's the veterinary emergency service where you took them, okay?
It looks like
They wouldn't give me any information. I tried to call to find out what I could do to help, and then they called and told her that I was trying to get information. So
it looks like there was a follow-up on the report that Thomas, your neighbor, had to take her dog to a specialist in Southfield for the injury to its trachea, and it sounds like that's where the dog passed, was at Blue Pearl Hospital in Southfield.
Yeah, they're specialists.
On the 27th, so 2 days later.
right. Nobody's come to even like meet Bruno because of, again, I'm assuming the virus and everything. Like, I tried to even book an appointment just to have like a dog trainer come up, observe, and they're all backed up because they have previous clients and stuff like that, so I couldn't get that done, and it's quite pricey. So I don't know.
What type of options does she have?
Well, if we find that her dog is a dangerous dog, there are some requirements to possess a dangerous or potentially dangerous dog. Just kind of looking through here. quick. Sorry.
I think I had to list in most of them I could do, but I mean, I don't want him to be labeled like that.
Any owner of a dangerous dog shall be jointly and severely responsible with all other owners. A dangerous dog should not be permitted to remain in the city unless it's properly registered as provided in this article. Except under circumstances otherwise specifically permitted by this article, dangerous dogs should at all times be maintained inside a proper enclosure. Premises where a dangerous dog is kept shall be posted with a clearly visible sign that there is a dog on the premises that presents a danger to human beings. And then there's some specifics on the sign. The owner of a dangerous dog shall, at owner's option and expense, buyer under supervision of licensed veterinarians, have an identification number tattooed upon the animal or a microchip injected under the skin, which we do at our animal shelter. We do microchips. The owner of a dangerous dog shall at all times maintain a policy of insurance in a minimum of $1 million to cover claims of personal injury inflicted by the dog. And within 30 days of the final determination of a dangerous dog, they shall begin attending animal obedience classes approved by the animal board, produce evidence of such attendance and such completion within 90 days after the final determination. Those are the requirements to own or possess a dangerous dog in the city.
So I've pretty much have all that covered besides the microchip, which I can get done when I plan on getting him neutered. I have a beware dog sign, but I believe it has to be like a picture. So in case kids can't read, that's not a problem. My problem is probably the policy for my insurance. I'm on Section 8. I can't afford $1 million coverage. Especially if he's deemed a dangerous animal, they'll probably say, no, we're not going to insure you. And then, I can't remember the other ones.
Have you checked with your homeowner's insurance company?
I have not checked. I rent, but no.
All right. Well, you should check with your rental insurance people.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they've required it. If you'd be required to tell them why you need $1 million worth of liability insurance.
You just tell them you're a dog. You just have a dog and you want to insure them, I guess.
Children.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments from our board regarding the determination or questions?
Chief Fraser, I have a question. At the very beginning, you said that the witness, did he identify a separate incident aside from this May 25th? I might have misheard. Okay, so this is the only incident that he has.
There was one on the 21st with his dogs and her dog.
Yeah, only one the witness
Nothing
talked
like
about.
crazy happened, but her dog and his dogs almost got into a fight on May 21st.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard.
And then about 2.5 months ago, I found her dog at the corner, tried to check his tags, and it almost bit me. So I rode with my door open, saying, come on, come on, went and knocked on her door. That's before we became friends and actually like friendly neighbors. I'm like, I think that your dog's out. And she's like, no, he's in the backyard. No, oh, that is him. So I've had 2 other encounters that I saw her dog be aggressive.
His statement is very simple, and it just says he heard screaming, looked over, and saw Miss Field's dog had Miss Thomas's dog shaking it. Then he went over and helped pull it apart. Correct. Miss Field, how big is Miss Thomas's dog?
It was a Shih Tzu. Probably, I don't know, 15, 20 pounds. I don't know. I think that's what it was.
It was just explained as a small dog.
Yeah, I think it was a Shih Tzu
The other dog, was it a male or female?
that passed.
Yes.
It was an unneutered male dog.
Male.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the keys here.
Mm-hmm.
Two unneutered males. You know, I'm just a veterinarian. I'm not a behavioral specialist, but there are about 15 different kinds of dog aggression. And the pairing works best for male females. The pairing works worst for male male.
And that's what I'm assuming, because my female dog she's 7 pounds and just barks. She antagonizes everything. I see it all the time.
Well, we sort of look for what's called a trigger mechanism, what brought this on. And your other dog certainly may have added to the problem.
For sure. But he didn't just run up to that dog and grab it and start shaking it. He had bite marks on his feet. You know, it wasn't just the woman kicking her. He got bit several times and probably just had enough of it. I don't know. I'm like dying in my car. I can't hear when my air's on in my car, and I have a generator running outside. I have no power over here, so trying to stay cool and calm.
Well, I guess as a board, we have to make a determination if the determination by the animal control officer is accurate that Ms. Field's dog, per the ordinance, is a dangerous dog. Does anybody want to weigh in on this to start?
Chief Frazier, this is our determination as a yes/no answer. Now, did Ms. Field, did she receive a ticket? Was there some other citation that was issued?
She did receive a violation for a dog bite.
Okay.
And then based on the animal control officer's investigation, he recommended the determination of the dangerous dog on top of that.
The investigation of the animal control officer, did he respond on that evening of May 25th, or did he review the report of the police officers?
He reviewed the report of the police officers, and he had a conversation with Miss Field.
Okay, so he interviewed. Was there 2 officers that responded?
There was, let me look here. Yes, 2 officers responded the night of. The animal control officer only works day hours, so he's gone by 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, so this happened in the evening.
Happened. We were dispatched approximately 9:30.
Okay.
And I have a message from her at 9:15 telling me to check my porch to get my wine and goodies she left. And then I said, come check out my backyard. She came over. She wasn't on a walk. It's not what happened.
The report doesn't necessarily say she was on a walk. It said she was walking her dog.
She wasn't, though. Her son was carrying him.
Okay, she stated that when she crossed in front of your house, your dog Bruno got free from the inside of the home and rushed her dog. Stated that Bruno bit her dog and began to shake him. Stated she attempted to get the 2 dogs apart, but wasn't able to. Neighbors came out and assisted. When our officers showed up, they saw the dog was in bad shape. Our officer actually grabbed her dog and took it to the veterinary hospital.
And I rode with her to the vet and sat there while she went in. And then I went in and paid and then walked home because she wouldn't even give me a ride home.
And reading Mr. Thomas's, or I'm sorry,
Not to mention too, I had to get a camera put out of my house because her son's father is threatening to rape and all this stuff to my 2-year-old. Like I have hundreds of messages.
that's a separate incident
Yeah,
in the police
I
department.
know. It's just so frustrating. I'm just so.
But Ms. Field, we can follow up with that and make a report if you wish. We need to see
I've tried.
Did you call the police department and make a
Yeah,
report?
yeah, but they didn't take a report. They just said if I see him again to call.
Okay, I will look into that tomorrow. On why a report wasn't. Did you tell them you didn't want a report?
I showed him all the messages. So I don't know why, because I came home one day and my front door, like the screen door was shut and my main door was wide open. It's not like the wind just blew it all open. So I had called Royal Oak police to come and they went searching through my house to make sure there was nobody in there. And then showed them the messages and I didn't write a statement or anything, so I don't know. But I haven't seen him. I've seen him over there with the son, but he hasn't messaged me or anything again. So
I'll look into that report and find out what our officers did and why they didn't take a statement. I can follow up with that. My concern is, and Dr. Baker, you mentioned the word trigger, that although Miss Field's dog has not, up to this point, had an issue with other dogs, something triggered this dog, and being that it's one of the stronger dog breeds, and it has one of the strongest bites of any dog breed, it's concerning that maybe something else triggers this dog. Based on the report, based on the circumstances, I agree with the determination of dog being a dangerous dog.
When we've done this before, it actually in the last one we did, it actually involved a person, and that was really detrimental. It was very, very difficult. Somebody got severely hurt. Now, I think part of the problem is there seems, according to the ordinance, there's no gray area here.
Right.
And I have a tendency to agree with the officer in being that if this dog gets out again and is in a circumstance similar to this, you have the potential to have the same results. There's a sort of a syndrome where big dogs look at little dogs as more of a threat, and like the owner said, it probably is, the other dog is probably adding to it. Now, whether this is a territorial thing or this dog is probably an alpha dog now because of the fact that he's a non-neutered male. And when he sees another male, there's a tendency to say, who's going to be head dog.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it starts with playing, but the playing has a tendency to progress to more aggression. And so I have a tendency to agree with the deputy chief. It's too bad that we couldn't reevaluate this after the dog was trained and neutered and all the fences were up, and we were all guaranteed that he was going to be able to be confined. We've had these instances where the kids, just by mistake, leave the gate open, and then the animals are out roaming, and that's one of the things that gets concerning. So we have a lot of dogs just like her dog in our practice, the greater majority of them are fine. There are some that out of the clear blue, we don't know what happens. So we sort of look at a trigger mechanism, whether this is territorial or an alpha situation. In most cases, it's a combination of a whole bunch of things. So
Don't you think it would have
I
happened
agree with,
before 5 years? He's almost 5, and I have been, there's pictures of him at the beach, not on like 5 years, and just all of a sudden.
so much of it depends on what the environment is that the dog is. At this time, at this instance, it just may have been a bad environment, or it may have been a bad situation when he saw the other dog. The problem is it's sort of unpredictable. So I guess that's the reason why I have a tendency to agree with the deputy chief. I just wish there was sort of a middle ground here.
Yeah, because he got big. He was a bigger dog and lost, where the other dog lost the fight, and that's what it is. So now what do I do?
Mr. Brick, did you want to wait?
This is my emotional support dog. I can't lose him. I can't.
Once, Deputy Chief, once the determination is made, does the animal control officer, does he end up evaluating the dog over a period of time? Because from my understanding, that once this designation, it's for a period of 18 months. Did I read the ordinance correctly?
Very possibly. It doesn't really talk.
I didn't think it was for an indefinite period of time.
It doesn't talk about a follow-up. It just talks about the registration is yearly. It's non-transferable to another dog, and transfer ownership or possession, you have to let the transfer, transferring it to know. So I don't see anything about the follow-up as far as the.
Well, that may be a good thing to think about. See if we can get a follow-up on this.
I just wish that the animal control officer would have at least come to evaluate my dog, or to check, like he told me he wanted certain locks and a sign, and I did all of that, and I haven't heard back anything. So now I owe a bunch of money out to people, and I have to get rid of. I'm gonna end up having to get rid of my dog and owe people money and all. It's just bad right now.
I think the reason the animal control officer hasn't really followed up is because you appealed it. Upon appeal, we need to discuss it. Upon the final determination of this board, then you have to register your dog, show that you've done all these things upon registering. So there's a process after this. It does talk about the 18 month. The way I read it is, maybe I'm wrong, so I don't want to make this binding, but Ms. Field can request after 18 months that it's reviewed.
Oh, that's where I read that. I knew I came across 18.
So
okay.
I think it's indefinite, but if she requests it, the Animal Review Board can review it, and if she demonstrates that the dog has been incident-free for more than 18 months, the dog owner, and she's successfully completed a restraint board, the owner has complied in all respects with provisions, that we can review this classification if Ms. Field asks us to.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I would agree with Dr. Baker. It's just like, I wish there was some gray area as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, given the circumstances, there's a propensity that this instance can happen again. I appreciate that.
I won't even let him out of my house. Please.
You okay, Ms. Field?
No, I'm not.
I'm gonna let Mr. Brake continue his comments here real quick. I'm gonna put you on mute, just give you an opportunity to get, so.
So I guess, part of the point that I was trying to make is working with the owner, she certainly seems motivated, but that the dog obedience training is a critical part of this. And regardless of how the animal is and other circumstances, when, as Dr. Baker mentioned, when there's that trigger factor and there's another unneutered male, that there is the chance that there will be an instance like this again. So this is not an easy decision by any means, and that's why I was looking for if there is the ability of that we could review this again, in a year and a half, and there's not any repeat instances, and that she has maintained. And I think your earlier comment that you made in reference to the liability insurance, it doesn't have to be in this context, but rather the liability coverage, just an over general liability that's on the renter's insurance. Oftentimes I want to say it's maybe like $250,000 as a minimum policy. But the drafters of the ordinance had an intent and to look at what the potential exposure is out there, and it's to protect the greater public in that regard. So again, if there was a middle ground that we could reach, she's received the ticket for the dog bite. I don't want to, I would respect the professional expertise of the dog warden in that regard. So I would tend to agree with that, but I'm willing to hear this case again to remove that status, and so that does not become an issue. So
I would agree with that. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to follow up and check and see if there's changes, if she follows through with everything.
Yeah, I'd be happy to review this and remove that designation. None of us. This is not an easy determination to go through, but but we have to we don't want to put this dog in a compromised situation, and this is very serious set of circumstances, and so that need to abide by and carefully watch over, and that will put the dog in the most successful environment in the future.
Yeah, if I could just add, you mentioned the writers of this ordinance, and I don't want to interpret this for them, but I think there might be a reason they left no gray areas here. The reason being is when it is appealed to a board like yourselves, we have a certain responsibility and possibly a liability if we were to go against the ordinance and say that there is a gray area, or decide to not follow upon animal control officer's determination, and then something 6 months, a year, 2 years happens. There's a certain responsibility that we hold for that happening, and I'm thinking that might be why there's no gray area.
She's muted now, so she can't hear us, right?
She can hear us. She
can hear us.
We can't hear her.
We can't hear her. Okay. Yeah,
she can hear us.
Yeah. The rules are set to protect the public, and that's sort of what we're following, I guess.
Furthermore, my read on this is this something, I mean, I'm not encouraging her to do this, but I think in fairness to the petitioner, this can also be reviewed by the district court. Is that correct,
That's,
Chief Fraser?
yeah, that's the way I
Okay.
see it too.
Is that before the magistrate or does it, again, I'm not asking you to be a lawyer here, but
I don't remember scrolling down exactly if it says a magistrate or a judge, or just the designation of the district court. I'm just seeing the district court itself being
okay.
mentioned. I don't
Mhm.
I don't see any designation whether it be a judge or magistrate.
Furthermore, once the determination is made, what is the period of time that Ms. Field is given to come in compliance? Is this something that has to be done immediately? How, walk me through, how does that work?
Based on the ordinance, she had 15 days to come in compliance unless she appealed. So I'm sorry, on the 15th day after the date of the notice from the animal control officer's classification, she can request a hearing.
Okay. What was the date of that notice that was given to her?
I don't have that in front of me. It was several days after the report. I have to look that up. I did not bring that home with me.
Okay.
The report was on the 25th. I would imagine it was within the week after that. Well, you know, I can tell you in the report, the animal control officer recommended Miss Field's dog. He did a follow-up recommending after speaking with her, speaking with the owner of the victim dog on the 27th. So 2 days later, the morning of the 27th, so a day and a half later, and then a man went out to Miss Field, letting her know this and letting her know her rights and right to appeal and you know, several things she has to do with her dog.
Okay. So she appealed within that 15 days.
Yes.
And she was put on notice if that was on May 27th, because I remember the conversation leading up to this. But if the determination is made, what is the time frame? It says 15 days within compliance, but does the start beginning today?
It doesn't say.
Okay.
I'm not seeing.
Because I think it's fairness to the petitioner that needs to be real clear to her.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. It's do we have the ability of indicating and
It does. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. It just says the notice that we have to give her notice, and that the notice shall specify a date upon which that determination is effective.
gotcha.
So
Okay.
once we determine that date, I would say the 15th of the month after that. You know,
15th of August.
you know, it doesn't. That talks about final determination. The 15th day after the notice, she can appeal a hearing. Or it doesn't say. I think we just set the date.
Okay.
It's very vague.
Yeah. Well, and obviously this hasn't been encountered that often. Dr. Baker, when was the last time you did a hearing like this? Approximately.
About 4 years ago.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Actually, I think the last one was 2014.
Okay.
Yeah. They I mentioned that one. That one was particularly bad because there was a person involved, and I don't know whether you want me to go into it or not, but it was a situation where the guy wasn't home and he broke up with his girlfriend, and he told her not to come to the house while she and her friend came to the house, supposedly to let the dog out. It was a big dog. It was over 100 pounds. And she let the dog out, and her friend came inside, apparently sat down on the dog's chair. the dog came in and attacked the girl and tore her lip off.
Wow.
And so that was almost an open and shut situation.
Right. So.
If I could
So,
just
yeah.
if I could interject one more thing, it talks about the registration of the dog as a dangerous dog or potentially dangerous dog, and it also talks about Ms. Fields would have 30 days to enroll. 30 days after the final determination, she would have to start attending. So I think she gets 30 days to start attending, and before she can register her dog as a dangerous dog, she has to prove that her dog started attending. So being a lawyer interpreting that, she's got 30 days to register.
I think I would think that with the virus situation, there would be a certain amount of leeway here, because a lot of these classes are not necessarily one-on-one.
True. Okay. Good point.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Okay. All right. All right. So with that in mind, I have the calendar open. I would I propose that to come in compliance, it's the last Friday of August. So instead of 30 days, I'm going to the end of August, which is August 28th. It's a Friday.
I would agree with that. I think that's legitimate.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Okay.
Ms. Field, you're unmuted. Do you have any questions or anything?
No, I was just looking at the letter, and it does say within 30 days after the final determination date, the owner of the dangerous animal or dog, whatever. And then within 90 days after the final determination day, successfully complete an obedience class approved by the Animal Review Board. So that's what I was looking at. But I've called to try to get them enrolled, and all of these places, like you said, are behind because of the virus. They have previous clients that have paid but haven't been able to, they're basically, some of them are doing like Zoom calls. Like I don't understand how we'd be able to train a dog over a Zoom call.
Yeah, you would think that's a little weird, you got to see the dog, see what it does.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. So for Chief Frazier, what I give the petitioner a little bit of latitude. She has to show documented proof. If she can't get the dog in, she can't get the dog in. But there has to be some, whatever sort of notations, things like that can be verified. Then, I would be happy to review this again, because it's Dr. Baker brings up a good point. It's just, we don't know. It's maybe some of these dog training facilities, they might even be meeting till well into the fall. So I don't want to put her in a difficult spot. So if she's making a good faith effort, then I think we should be willing to work with her. So.
I agree. And Ms. Field, you have my direct line and my email. So let's keep in touch on that. I think the board, it's obvious we're willing to give you some leeway here based on the circumstances with what's going around in our state and our nation at the time. So
Thank you.
do the best you can. Just keep in touch if you're running into some hurdles or roadblocks with it, and we'll auto pivot as we get to with the.
Okay, so does anybody know like recommendations of places to start calling, or should I just look? Is it like, because it says it has to be approved by the Animal Review Board, like the obedience class?
Do you have a pen and pencil?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. The animal behaviorist at Oakland Veterinary Referral. And I don't have her current telephone number, but her name is Dr. Laporta, and she would be a good one to consult. The other one that we usually recommend is the Animal Learning Systems. and I can give you their telephone number, okay?
Okay.
Their telephone number is 313-882-6180.
Okay.
And you can use my name if you want.
And what was your name again? Sorry.
Baker, Bruce Baker. And tell them your situation, and see if they can at least get you an evaluation, okay?
Okay.
Any other questions, Ms. Field?
So I just, right now, my main thing is to do the obedience stuff, right? And what my insurance says about the runners.
Yes, you gotta take care of the insurance provisions and the amounts, and there's several other things in that handout you have, including a sign, a proper enclosure maintained at all times within the proper enclosure, the microchip, and then the obedience score. And then after you can prove all of that, then you have to register with the city.
Okay.
All that tentatively is set to be done by August 28th.
Okay.
Right. Well, I shouldn't say tentatively. That's probably not the better. Right now, it's the 28th. If you have some circumstances that cannot be avoided, and you need a little bit from the 28th, you can review that.
Okay.
But just let me know. I can be your point of contact.
Okay.
Anything else? Anything from our board?
I'm all set. So thanks, Chief Frazier. Dr. Baker, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Yes,
Nice meeting you too. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Everybody be safe out there.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for your help on the board. Mr. Brake, thank you. And Ms. Field, thank you for attending and sharing. And you have, like I said, I'm available to you anytime. Just call
Okay. Thank you.
call or
All right. Thank you.
have a good night. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.